Hi, I'm Daniel Rogov. I have two claims to fame. I'm probably the guy who tastes more kosher wine than anyone else in the world. And second, I'm a wine critic, which means that when I walk into a room full of winemakers, half of them say, ah, it's Daniel Rogov. And the other half say, oh, it's that miserable, rotten so-and-so once again. You've got to understand something. Critics that are popular every place are bad critics. Because the critic owes his public only one thing: his honest opinion of what he's tasting. Today, we're going to be tasting wines. As I said, I taste a lot of kosher wines. We're going to be tasting kosher wines today. There was a time, not that long ago, when tasting kosher wines was a chore. Today, it's become a pleasure. Because there's been a revolution in kosher wines, both at the wineries in California, in France, in Israel, all over the world. There's also been a revolution in the awareness of consumers of kosher wine. People used to drink kosher wine primarily for kiddush, to make blessings at bar mitzvot, at brit milah. Today, people see wine as an integral part of a cultured lifestyle, which is what it is. Let's start tasting wine. Oh, by the way, these wines that I'm tasting today are going to make their international preview on the 22nd of the month at the Kosher Food and Wine event at Pier 60 in New York. Well worth the possibility of going. We're going to start with two Israeli wines. Nothing to do with my being Israeli, but why not start with Israeli wines? We're starting from one very large winery, which is the Barkan Winery, third largest winery in the country. They make about 3 million bottles a year. They have a staff of 5 winemakers. They have some of the biggest, I'm looking for the word in English now, they have some of the biggest vineyards in the country and some of the best in the country. The second one is from a small winery, Shiloh Winery, which is located in Judea and Samaria. Small winery, 30, 40,000 bottles a year, doing some very nice stuff. Let's taste. Oh, by the way, on the table, we're sitting here at Ueza Wine Bar in Jaffa. On the table, I have Ueza's corned beef. Ueza's corned beef. You don't have to die. You eat this and you know what heaven is. We're starting with Barkan Superior from the 2006 vintage. It's still a young wine, even though it's from 2006. Oh yeah, one hint. When the waiter comes to your table and opens the bottle, don't sniff the cork. Cork doesn't tell you anything. The cork can stink and the wine can still be fine. Unless you're a professional winemaker, don't sniff the cork. Doesn't tell you anything. Just shows that you're a snob. All right, let's see what the wine is. This is a Cabernet Sauvignon wine made from Cabernet Sauvignon grapes, oak aged for about 1.5 years. Beautiful aromas. Rich, full-bodied, round. Talk about flavors. Flavors of black currants, blackberries, oriental spices. Very smooth, very soft. In a sense, very nice. Wine like this, by the way, goes very nicely with corned beef, which I'm about to have a slice of. Or at least a small piece. There we go. Now, people sometimes look at me and say, Rogov, you eat with your fingers? Of course, it's the most civilized thing to do. Now we're tasting the Shiloh Mosaic 2006, same vintage year. 2006 was a very good year, by the way, in Israel. 2008, even better. 2006 makes a beautiful wine. These are wines that'll sell comfortably for 10 to 15 years, both of the wines we're tasting now. When I say cellar, that means, of course, that you have them in good conditions, not sitting in a hot closet someplace where they're baking and boiling and everything else. Interesting, a very, very different wine. This is a blend of 4 or 5 different grapes. If I'm not mistaken, it has Cabernet, Merlot, Petit Verdot, Mourvèdre, and maybe, I think, the winemaker, in a playful mood, put in 1 or 2% of Chardonnay, a white wine. Why add white wine to a red wine? Very strange. Adding a small amount of either Chardonnay or Viognier to a red wine adds to its color and its body. It also adds to its ability to age. Ask anybody to explain that, and if they do explain it, they're lying, because the truth is nobody knows, but it does work. Interesting, two different wines, same vintage here, different grapes, different blends, different flavor profiles. Here I found black fruits, as you remember, blackberries, black currants, and I found spices and herbs. Here I'm finding a red fruit profile. Raspberries, strawberries, going over, after a while in the mouth, to black fruits. Two wines, very, very good. Scores, I would give the first one a 91. I would give both of them 91 points. 91 points is a wine that's excellent and outstanding in every way. Wines occasionally get 100 points. That's half a miracle when a wine gets 100 points. A wine that gets 91 points is well worth the money you're going to pay for it. Let's switch now from Israel, which is a relatively small country by any standard. Let's move over to other countries. Let's move to California, Spain, and California again. Three wines here. The first one is made by a company called Capsanas. They're located in Spain. Now we're tasting a new wine from Capsanas. They call it La Flor de Flor. Interestingly enough, it's a wine that's made from Syrah grapes. It's an unusual wine for them. It's the first time they've done it. It's also the first time I've tasted it. Let's see what it's like. This is an interesting wine. As I say, this is the first time I've tasted this one. Any wine that makes me smile must be a good wine, and I'm smiling now. All right. On the nose, that is to say, the aromas. First of all, it opens with an interesting aroma of chocolate, dark chocolate, and leather, which is very typical to this grape. Think clean, fresh saddle leather, and that's what you get here. Those aromas part, and they make way for black fruits, especially purple plums, crushed blackberries. The nose is beautiful. You could sit here and just enjoy the nose without even drinking the wine. On the palate, that is to say what I'm tasting, full-bodied wine, that is to say it's heavy, but it's not heavy and clumsy. It's muscular in a gentle kind of way. It opens very nicely in the glass, and this is a wine that you'll have to come back to 3 or 4 times before it opens completely. It opens in the glass on first attack. I'm getting good black fruits. I'm getting more chocolate. What I'm getting is Mediterranean herbs. Think of the song Rosemary, Sage, Parsley, and Thyme. Simon and Garfunkel, if I remember, did it originally. I liked them. It's a wine that's long. What does it mean long? That is to say, after you've swallowed it, the taste, the flavors, and the aromas linger. And they linger nicely. They fill the mouth, and you feel it here. Very, very nice. Very round, long wine. This is a wine I could really, really enjoy, and will in the future. Normally, by the way, when a wine critic tastes wines, you taste wines. You don't drink, as I'm doing now. Why? At most of my tastings, I'll taste anywhere from 30 up to 100 wines. And if you swallow and don't spit, after about the 20th wine, you're on the floor unconscious, and they're calling the ambulance to see if they can revive your heart. If you do it more than 3 or 4 days in a row, you're a confirmed alcoholic for the rest of your life. That's a nice wine. Score, 93, 94. Yaffe.